I got to lean in.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to another recap review for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I'm here with Shantae and Chad. Chad is, I'm kind of envious because I'm actually out of Shisha right now, so I can't smoke. But how are y'all doing today on this Thursday for Salt Lake City? Shantae, how you doing?
Well, I got my tree down, so that's always a plus.
Did you get all three down?
Huh?
You get all three down?
Yes. Which is why, it took a while.
Oh,
So
I'm so
I'm caught up with the season. I got my Valentine's Day stuff up. So I'm happy.
So Wendy has 4 degrees. Monique has four homes, and you have 4 trees. I think, right? The 4 trees. How many trees was it? Three, four?
It was three.
Oh, well,
Yes.
shoot. Well, you up there? Three. Glad, so good. Glad to have you back today. How are you?
I'm doing amazing.
You've been so busy funding this expensive life, as you told me.
I did not say I was funding. I said I'm working. I have things to do this year. So yeah, I have expensive tastes, is what I said.
You sound a little lower, by the way. I don't know, just to, I hear you,
I
but you
was
do sound.
wondering. So let me put my headphones on.
I can hear you. You just, you kind of gotta lean in and speak up so we can hear you if you wanna, talk in that way. Let's see if it
Can
works.
you hear me? Can you hear me
Oh,
better now?
woo, we hear you. My God.
Can you
Exactly.
hear me better now too? I just turned on my AirPods.
Yeah, I
Sounded
can.
fine the first time, Chantel. I promise you, we all heard. Well, listen, we're here for Salt Lake City. Danny's and not Danny, shoot, wrong show, child. Antonio took a break this week, and Jamie decided not to show up because he was scared of Chad. He did not want to have to face Chad one-on-one, so he decided to take tonight off. That's
Is
what
that what happened?
that's
That's
what I,
what word on the street.
word on the curb. That's what I heard. So he's not here this week, but they'll be back next week. We have one more part of this reunion. This is part 3, which is next week. So we'll be doing that next week. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, as I always say. I've been talking to people at work all day how this has been like my favorite show to review in the last year. And I'm just glad that we continue to review it. I don't know I know it's off topic, but the Atlanta trailer aired today, and I'll tell you right now, we will not be reviewing that show.
Oh,
Really? You got the axe?
I'll say this: I won't be reviewing it. If someone
oh
from
no.
wants to pick it up, they can, but that show will not be a part of our lineup this year.
Is it
I'm
because of Kenya? Are you mad about that?
no, I will
Okay, okay.
not.
Maybe.
Just wondering.
Personally, I'm gonna say this. It just the show for the last few years has kind of gone to a point where it's like, okay, I can watch it, I can review it. But when it gets to a point to where I feel like I'm being forced to watch something that I'm not interested, then it's not authentic to me. And so I
Okay.
would rather save you hearing me every week say how boring the episode is and boring I didn't think it was, that where it's like then just review it and be stuck with it. Now, if it gets to a point to where it turns out to be a good season, then we can revisit that. I'm not downplaying that as an idea, but I'm gonna save my time and yours by not picking it up initially, okay?
Sheesh.
But I'm
Well,
pretty
cheers to
sure,
that.
yeah, I think Chase will be reviewing it. So he has this platform, No Chaser TV, and a lot of the lean individuals and the panelists, they are over there as well as his own panelists as well. So you can always catch them over there. Just saying. So, but I wanted to give y'all that here first because that trailer did not move me at all. I did not enjoy it. It was just like, okay, I really thought it was Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. It did not seem like Real
I
House.
can I can
So
agree with that.
it just didn't give what I would want to see. So,
Yeah, I don't want to do it on my channel either, but I think that
mhm.
in terms of Portia and Phaedra coming back, that could be nice to see Frick and Frack, but yeah, the trailer wasn't that great. You're right.
Okay, well, listen, let's get into Salt Lake City. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. So last week's part one reunion, there was a lot going on. It ended off with the husbands coming on to the couches or coming to the screen or the stage or whatever, and it ended with Todd and Bronwyn talking about how they have kind of grown a little bit from their past, how it looked on the television to what transpired, to how they are now in real life. And it ends with Todd kind of addressing Lisa on her bringing up the whole issue, the situation with Gwen's grandparents saying that allegedly Bronwyn had a miscarriage. So we pick up in this week episode where he's talking to Lisa, and John tells him to watch his tone, but he says, "Watch your tone." In other words, like, you watch your tone. Like, I'm not saying anything crazy. Honestly, I don't think Todd was raising his voice. Honestly, it didn't seem like it. So it's just me. But it kind of ends kind of briefly because I think Andy sees where it's going, and so he's like, "All right, y'all, let's nip this in the bud." John makes a little side comment saying that it's a friendly environment and asks about security. I'm like, why would we need security? I mean, if we needed security, when you got stuff on John. I mean, not John, Justin. I'm just saying, but he said they need security, right? So Lisa starts to speak about it because obviously Todd brought it to her attention again, saying that she already apologized to Bronwyn. Like, what more do you want? Like I said, that I didn't bring it up on camera. And she tries to justify a little bit by saying that, when things are said on camera, it's gonna come out. That's kind of what she was saying to her. But Andy, he kind of nips it in the bud, and Andy kind of commends Todd for his protectiveness of Gwen and how they let her deal with the situation, whether she wanted to have their relationship with the grandparents or not. So then they go into a side question from a fan or a viewer saying, why is Angie not holding Whitney accountable for getting Monica to bring up the rumor from last year about the whole Sean gay sexuality rumor, whatever it is, right? And so, basically she kind of says, well, honestly, she saw it as more so Meredith said it. So then becomes this whole back and forth between the two on who said what. Basically, Monica is the person that said it, but in one instance, she said that Meredith said it, and in other instance, she said that Meredith did not say it. Basically, it kind of
she said she.
She says she. So it is true. She did say she. But I mean, based off of what we saw on TV, who do you think she was? Who was she?
Of course, Meredith.
It's Meredith.
Okay, right. So I mean, come on. But anyway, Meredith kind of goes into her little victim stance. It's just like she doesn't understand, why there's so much retaliation from Angie. She's come for her business, come for her marriage. And there's the whole comment about Monica saying that they could take Angie and Sean's home. So then, it comes a thing to where Meredith brings up mentioning jokes about her renting her home. She's like, what, we get it. Like, I rent a home. I'm only in Salt Lake City half the year. I have a winter ski rental for half that time. And Andy's like, why is that so negative? Like, you rent, right? And she's like, well, it's the context of it being shady. And the crazy part about this is that literally earlier when Meredith made the comment about what's her name, Angie, being a backup dancer for Jen, she couldn't understand why it seemed so shady when she knew she meant it in a shady way. Yes, she was in the video being a backup dancer, but it's the same context of like, it was a shady moment. But in this moment, she couldn't understand why Angie would say that, even though it was true, why anybody would say it, because yes, we know she rents, but she just didn't want to own it in that sense. That's what I got from it. So then they actually play the audio. They play an audio where it kind of shows the interview with Sean, where he was talking to the individual, how he was led down, a rabbit hole of the questions. He answered it. And then Sean speaks on how he feels. Meredith wants them to pull this particular footage where Monica said that she did not say it, but I guess she gets upset because they haven't played it yet. She begins to storm off. And as she storms off, she gets her to get it up. They show these clips, and basically from backstage in the control room, it is said what Angie said is true, that she did say. They didn't say who, but specifically, we all think that she was Meredith. So finally, I guess once they play the footage and get the information from the control room, Meredith she feels better. She sits down, and honestly, Andy is kind of over because I think Andy does not like Monica. I sense that. And I think he just was like trying to get them to say, like, or realize that, listen, this lady had both of y'all like in a fucking frenzy over nothing. You know what I'm saying? So why y'all arguing over something over someone said is no longer here, that has kind of been validated as like a known liar in a sense. So I'll stop here and get your thoughts. Shantae, what did you think of this whole thing? Oh, anything in this segment?
I thought Andy was blowing minds because Andy knows that that is very shady, to be talking about people renting versus owning because it's Housewives. Like, I always see Housewives as kind of like the new school version of like lifestyles of the rich and famous, So when someone points out that Bronwyn didn't really buy her necklace, or Meredith is not really owning anything and she's renting all these properties, it does have a little shady dig aspect to it. And the fact that Andy, who has seen these kind of things for all these different franchises, was acting like he just was like Stevie Wonder to all of them. Like, how's that? It's so I was like, stop, Andy. So he was kind of annoying me the most in that segment. And I definitely think that with Angie and Meredith, it's up and stuck between them. I know Mary would love for them to make up, which we'll get to later, but they don't see it for each other. And they kind of try every now and then, but it always rears this ugly head back in that they just don't see it for each other.
Mm-hmm. Chad?
So for one, I'm so over Angie versus Meredith. Like, I'm
Mm.
sick of that whole back and forth with them. I do think that I'm with Shantae when it comes to Andy being obtuse to the whole situation, because it was like, clearly Angie is making a dig. She's clearly done it plenty of times with them going back and forth. Like, she said something during the season, and she was like, while she rents, I think it was the first episode, while she stays in her rental or something. So it was like, Andy clearly knew what was going on. That did irritate me that he was being obtuse with it. But it seems that he's really taken a liking to Angie, which we all have this season, which is, that's okay. But I just want Meredith and Angie to stop. Like, I'm really sick of it. I'm drained with it. It's kind of become how Kenya and Nene was at one point for me. It was just like, okay, how long y'all gonna keep this up? So, yeah, I wish they would move on from it, especially with that situation with the whole Monica thing, because it's like, it's so last season. Monica was not on this season, and y'all wait to the reunion to even talk about that. It was just kind of dumb.
I think they was trying not to talk about her at all, during during the show, like filming. But I mean, at the reunion, it's like you can kind of break the fourth wall at the reunion. You're supposed to, I guess, in a sense, more you can. But that's probably why. But I think Andy was just annoyed that they were. I mean, if this was what was keeping them from, making amends, was this? It was like, this person is no longer on the show. We've already kind of proved them to be an invalid source. So it's just like, why? I think this is kind of evident that Monica, for those that think Monica's coming back, that lady is not coming back. I don't think Angie likes her. I don't think. And I think, I think it's a done deal for her. And even the way she speaks on social media, I see her I don't look for her, but I think I still follow her. And so, like, after each episode, she's like making posts and she's living for her. She would, even though she would love to come back, I'm sure, and acts like she doesn't. I think she will, but she's not coming back. No, man, one and done. Let it go.
Yeah, I honestly think that with them having such a stellar season, she's not needed at this point. And mind you, I know we all pretty much liked her for the most part, but it was like, this cast was like the perfect cast since season 1 that they've had. So I don't see it either.
Okay. Quick super chat, and thank you, Liberia Rose. That's a nice name. That sounds like a good drag name. That'd be my name if I was on drag. Thank you for the super chat. Saying Meredith was shady, calling Angie a backup dancer. Very much so. I think they are the same thing. Her saying that she was a backup dancer, and her and what's her name, Jen Shaw's spot video is just as shady as her saying, yeah, she rents. I mean, I think it's the same thing. Like, if she can acknowledge that shade, she should understand why it kind of irritated Angie when she was saying it. Because I think Angie picked up it only being shade as well, and that's why she was like, "Come on, Meredith." I think more women in Housewives should just definitely be like, "Okay, yeah, it was shade," than just acting like, But I guess it looks better for TV if we just act like it wasn't shade. And it's never helped that Andy's always in it like, "Oh, but it's true though. Why are you mad?" When you know damn well that it's shade. Andy, in my opinion, I don't know. But thank you for the super chat. Okay,
Liberian girl, you rock our world. No, the Michael Jackson song, Liberian girl, you rock my world.
Okay,
That's what I was thinking.
So then after that, we see they talk about the back and forth and the disagreement between John and Justin. Now, in this moment, John, he apologizes for the second encounter where he walked up on Justin because Justin was talking whatever, when he was not really truly aggressive or whatever. And so, but Justin also agrees, and he said he apologized that the first time he walked up to Lisa, he felt like it was aggressive, and whatnot. There is a rumor that Lisa and Whitney had a threesome. They say that that never happened. They talk about Sean doing circle jerks. So, my lord today is so Lisa says that it was an analogy. She was basically, and Lord, I wish Housewives would just stop using analogies because it never comes off like an analogy until later on down the line.
Right.
Go back to
especially in that moment.
Especially in that moment. But what she was saying was she was making an example, like an analogy, saying like, that's just like if I said he did circle jerks. It didn't come off that way on camera. It came off as if she was saying that she heard that he had circle jerks. First of all, circle jerks is just crazy. Like, I am very confident in my sexuality. I have never really heard of that. I know what it is, but just using the like, what? Circle jerks? Like, what?
It's very random.
You know what, Scorpio? I would do one with Sean as well. I would. Listen, and yes. But she even says, she meant it as an analogy, and she said she didn't even know what a circle jerk was until a few weeks ago. So before that, so she didn't even know what it was. Whitney apologizes for her comment, which is kind of what initiated this thing about circle jerks, because this is where she said that she had heard that that Lisa and John had with this random person that was also trying to have with them. So she apologizes for that, for bringing her husband and family into it. And so Angie goes on this whole like tangent on how bringing up things like this and saying things, for one, you already said my husband was gay in the past, and we had just got over that. And then here you are saying things like circle jerks and stuff like this. These things affect the family. And Heather's like, but Angie, you say stuff like this too all the time. And they kind of shut Angie down because honestly, I like Angie, but Angie does say some things that could be in the same family. So that's what happens there. Any thoughts on any of that?
Okay, back to the circle jerking. I have heard that term used more as like a metaphorical kind of way to describe when, especially men in certain settings, tend to like pat each other on the back and congratulate each other rather than like looking at, you know, the I guess critical side of things. So it's not like that term isn't used, but I definitely feel like the way Lisa used it is just so wrong, especially because Angie's husband has been facing all those rumors, and it was such a big pain point, for Angie and her husband. If Lisa's calling herself Angie's friend, there was no reason for her to again try to make Angie feel the pain that she was feeling over what Whitney had just done to her. It's like, what it feels like to have something horrendous said about your family, your husband. So why are you doing this to your friend? Even if it was just an analogy, like, it always goes wrong. So especially if it's your own friend, don't do it. Yeah,
it didn't help that he was already had allegations of him being gay and stuff like that. So it's just like, why use that analogy of all things to say?
Lisa Barlow knew what she was doing.
She knew.
At this point, she's 5 seasons in. She's a vet at this point, especially for her franchise. She knew exactly what she was doing.
Yeah, I agree. But they let her slide out of it really quickly. And so,
they did.
They did, because I would have been. But I mean, at this point, it don't really matter. Like, let her slide or not, you wouldn't have gotten much from her.
Yeah, it's true.
Very true.
She probably would have started crying and made herself the victim. That's what she would have did.
It seems like she's going to do that next week.
Yeah, we back to it. This was actually the most quiet Lisa was, I feel like, of all 3 parts. Because
Oh,
for
yeah, for
last
sure.
week, oh my God, next week, oh my God, this week, it really wasn't about her. I don't think it was finally moments where she just didn't really say much. And I was kind of glad. Like, I like that.
Yeah.
She likes to always get involved, but always hates to be involved at the same time.
Yes.
It's so
It's
weird.
true.
It's so weird. So then we talk about. So then they go into a segment of some unseen footage. Basically where they ask Heather about how she felt like Todd reminded her of her ex, right?
Mm.
And so there's an unseen footage where Todd is kind of giving her these words of affirmation, basically telling her she's beautiful and stuff like that. And hell, he said that she was exceptionally attractive, and Brahma was like, "Okay,
Too funny.
not too much." I didn't know she was saying that in a way of being like. But first, when I first heard it, I'll tell you, I thought she was saying it like she ain't that bad. But I think she was saying it like, like, okay, wait, that's too much. Like, hello. I had to watch it twice to realize what she was saying. But anyway, it don't seem like he really thought he was going overboard with it, because he said, well, I went overboard, or what he said, apparently. So whatever. So then Heather basically goes down the spiel of saying that the issue was that she felt like it related to her previous marriage, because he was very nice to her and gave her all these words of affirmation, but he didn't see that same, care and love and understanding for his wife based off of what, she's told them in the past. And so then they go down the whole thing with Justin not stepping up for Whitney when his name Seth said proof biatch, and Justin basically says he didn't really acknowledge it in that way at that time, but looking back on it, he definitely felt like it was aggressive. Seth kind of blames it on the alcohol. That's all I really heard. He basically said we have been drinking since 7 in the morning. We had some gold, whatever, anejo, whatever it is. Like, basically, I was drunk. I'm sorry. That's what I got from it. So then Whitney is just like, well, why would you call me? Whitney trying to make it more of a thing. But why would you call me a biatch? And so they all were just like, because you inserted yourself, fool. Like, you didn't have to say anything. And they shut her down. So Seth kind of, I don't understand what he was saying, but I don't think this happened. But he said that Angie had called Meredith like a bitch twice within the last few seconds. Did that happen?
I have to
I
say, I
don't
said I was gonna go
remember
back
it.
and see, because I believe if he said it, I believe it, because it sounded like some stuff Angie was saying, but
Well, why
I
would
don't
she say
remember it.
so? What context? We haven't really seen. So I believe that she's capable, yes, but we haven't seen Angie escalate to that level at all thus far. So do you think we would have saw that? I don't know. Like in this reunion, at the reunion, we have not seen that. Like
Oh yeah.
the person at the table when the season ended, the finale, we haven't seen that. We've seen her kind of, get upset and kind of speak her truth, but she hasn't like cussed anybody out. I ain't seen that. I don't know.
That's
Maybe
true.
I'm just saying that's me. Maybe I missed it, but I went back and I watched it on Peacock. I didn't see nothing extra. They usually give you extra minutes on there, so I don't know if it really happened. That's just me. But he said it happened. So, any thoughts there, Chad?
Yes. So with the whole proof biatch thing, I knew that he was like, the way he explained it, I believed it, because he was like, if I was to see, John on the street, it's like, what's up, biatch? Like, I get where he was coming from, but he also has to understand in that moment that this is a thing amongst the wives, and of course, now that you're involved and you saying stuff, it's going to come off as if you are being nasty and with nasty intent. And when we watched it, we all was like jaw dropped, because it was like, oh wow, I did not think he was talking to Whitney, because I remember when they first showed the preview, I was like, maybe he's talking to another husband or whatever. So I believed when he said that that's just kind of how he speaks and how he talks or whatever. And from what we know his personality, he is very kind of wacky. So I believe that situation. But when it came to Justin, I was very lost, because he was like, yeah, in the moment I had just, I woke up and I was on like this Zen journey, and I said, I'm not going to get into any negativity. And I'm like, sir, I get what you're saying. I get you don't want to be in no more drama and all that. But this man called your wife biatch in front of everybody. And I'm like, you couldn't be that thrown off to not realize how aggressive it was at the table. But I do believe sometimes you just don't want to be in no confrontation, but that was a moment for confrontation, in my opinion. to me, that was almost worse than him and John at the party. Because I'm
I
like, that was very nasty to say.
yeah.
And mind you, it's Whitney I'm defending in that moment. So yeah, that was nasty.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think as a rule, especially with the whole biatch thing, and men or the husbands rather having to navigate being able to let their wives handle whatever they need to handle without overstepping their role. It's always something that becomes a problem in most of the series. I think a good rule of thumb is don't use B words on women, if you
Yeah.
are, a husband especially, and try to stay out the fray and let your wives handle it. I think it's always better when the men check each other, but anytime, you're calling people B words, I don't think it's a good look for any of the husbands as a rule of thumb.
I would agree. I would completely agree. Hold on, I'm trying to put this thing here. Sorry. Um, I would agree with actually with both of y'all saying. I don't know how
Mhm.
Justin see it as it being kind of like weird and disrespectful then, but like you said, Seth is kind of like Seth is very random and just kind of like
Mm.
I don't want to say weird. He's just a very strange man, and so it
Him and
was
Mary, they complement each other. Very
they
kooky.
they do they're very kooky, but he is like on a whole nother level of kookiness.
He said, I've been drinking. I've
He
been
basically said
drinking.
that I've been drinking,
It's like, I didn't know what
and
was
I'm sorry. Of course, Whitney was gonna try to make more out of it. He
going
apologized, and that's that on that. He said he no longer wants to. What was it called? What her boobs? What's it called? Her anymore? What was it? He said they asked him the question about when with the cake, and he was like he would something Whitney with the boobs. What do you call it?
Is it
Oh, from a few
motorboat?
seasons
Motorboat?
ago.
Oh yes, motorboat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He no longer wants to do that word anymore.
We use it all over. Circle jerking, motorboating, like what else?
I don't. It's crazy. I don't even know. Listen, I'm old
It's a
school, so
look,
whenever
it's a white verbiage for sexual things, and there's a black verbiage. That's definitely white verbiage.
and that's what I'm saying. Like for me, that's not what I would call it.
Y'all need to turn this into Lean After Dark if we're gonna keep talking about all this stuff,
High
because
body count hair,
people
like
cheering is a weight. Yeah.
we just call it stripper hair or hoe hair.
Right. High body count hair was definitely a new one.
All right. So then after that, they get into Bronwyn and Todd's situation as regards to infidelity. And so at the beginning of this, Todd actually hasn't seen the footage. He don't even know. I guess he seemed like he don't even know what was said. And but apparently they have discussed it. So Bronwyn is saying that they have talked about it, right? Bronwyn kind of downplays everything that she said. I mean, let's be very honest. Like she mind you, when this episode happened, we felt like it was kind of oddly placed that she was just pouring out to them, and it came off as if, okay, this is not going right and well with me in the group. Let me try to bring them closer to me by giving them a piece of me that I feel like that will bring them close, and they will like, I don't know, whatever it is, right? But she kind of downplayed it, and so Heather is like, no, like you came to us, you cried to us, like you made it seem like it was such a big thing. Like, did he do it or did he not? And so she's just like, she said that she felt like he did something, and because basically what she said happened was that Gwen, her daughter, looked over his shoulder and saw him texting somebody inappropriately. That's what she said. So they like, is it cheating? Is it not cheating? Is it emotional? Like, what is it at this rate? So Lisa speaks up to try to defend herself because Bronwyn was upset that she felt like Lisa and Meredith were kind of not in cahoots, but they were kind of in support of what Todd maybe have done, because after it happened on the boat, she was upset with Lisa. She was upset that Lisa didn't say much. She went and talked to Heather, Angie, and Whitney, and this is where they came up with the whole thing of, well, maybe Meredith and Lisa can relate because they too have
Have
that
cheated.
husband and stuff like that. So this is where it comes from. And so Lisa's like, I don't know what the issue is. Like, I don't know what you wanted from me. Like, you're saying that didn't much happen, but at the time you said, you basically, it's almost like you wanted to say fuck Todd, fuck Todd, fuck Todd. Like, they were saying that they felt like they supported her in a way that they thought they did or could, but she was saying that she wasn't. And so Meredith actually makes a great question, and she says, if it wasn't that deep, don't expect me to rally around you. Like if it's supposed to be this deep, then and you don't like what I said, but you come back and say it wasn't much of anything, then why are you upset with us for not speaking or saying in the way you wanted to? It did kind of make sense. I'm not gonna lie. I was like once I was on Lisa and Meredith's side because I was like Bronwyn. But mind you, it didn't just come in this particular episode. When she gave all that on the boat, I thought it was kind of like weird, odd actually. So then we see some unseen footage of Bronwyn speaking to Meredith, where it seems like she was receptive of what Meredith was saying, and not necessarily that she was looking at what she said to be wrong, right? But I feel like this is oddly placed because I feel like maybe the scenes where she brought it back up, when Meredith brought it back up, that when she was mad and she went in the room and closed the door and was talking, behind the wall. She was mad about that. I don't understand why Bronwyn didn't come forth at some point and say, like, and make it clear that she received what Meredith said and understood it. Like, I feel like if that was the case, maybe I think Meredith was still upset because Bronwyn was still acting like she was still upset with them, that they didn't support her. It was weird. I don't know. It was very weird. I wish we got more context of when the scenes were, because I don't know when that other scene on the beach was versus the storm out scene versus the boat. I don't really know. I can't remember honestly. But anyway, we see, Todd kind of acting kind of weird in the moment, and she looks at him. She's like, "It's okay, it's okay." I'm like, "Okay." So what I get from this is what I think. You tell me what y'all think. I think Todd full out cheated boots. I don't think he was texting nobody in a problem. I think he was licking and sticking and motorboat and everything else. That's what I think he was doing. I don't think it was no text. I think it was more because that whole interaction between her downplaying it, his face, all that just gave me like, okay, there's more to this, and he's definitely guilty. That's just me. That's me. So one last thing, Bronwyn, there's a comment from Angie where she basically says that she feels like Bronwyn has shared more than Lisa ever has, or has given them more than Lisa ever has. And Mira on the side is like, that's why everybody likes her. She's very open. So I'll stop there. Shantae, any thoughts?
Oh, Brown was definitely lying. Whether she was lying on the boat to get sympathy from the girls or she's lying now at the reunion, something is not adding up. Something in the milk ain't clean.
No.
And just the fact that, her husband had to do those 5 promises or whatever and like buy her things, it does make me agree with you, Cortez, that he did something. And I was with Lisa and Meredith because they were acting like there was some kind of character flaw in those women for not, having pitchforks against Bronwyn's husband, with the other ladies. But at the end of the day, they were right. And that's why I also tend to stay out of, couples' business and other married people's business, because when the one person complains and you call yourself, trying to say something about the other person, the couple's gonna make up back and then get mad at you and talk mess about you. And that's exactly what happened with the other ladies. So Lisa and Meredith were correct in their stance, and Bronwyn seemed like she was lying, whether she's lying about the cheating or she up, I guess, played up the story, I guess, to the ladies for sympathy. I don't know, but something is up for sure.
Chad?
I think it's it's telling that something absolutely more happened, or it's telling that something was weird to a lot of us, because even I remember in our group chat, Chase even said, I thought that she was coming on the show to get a divorce, and that doesn't seem like it. It does feel like, she opened up a lot for the sake of, I don't know, like you said, either empathy, sympathy, something or whatever, but it was very weird. And I want to say too that in that moment on the boat, when she did open up, that's when a light switch for me with Bronwyn kind of switched off. It wasn't that I stopped liking her, but that's when I noticed that's when I started picking up on all the things that Lisa had kind of been saying about her behind the scenes, about how she's two-faced, she's this, that. I was like, okay, I kind of can see now where this is coming from, because it just was, like we said, it just didn't make sense. It was kind of misplaced. It was kind of out of nowhere. And when she mentioned on the couch that about, or when Andy mentioned it, whoever mentioned it about Gwen looking over his shoulder, that's when Todd was making the faces like he was completely thrown, like he
Yeah.
was lost, like he had no idea that
He was
that's
looking
what
like,
happened.
that's what you told him?
Yeah, it was very. I think we all picked up on it. Like he was caught off guard, like
Very
basically,
much so.
and yeah, the way he reacted, you could kind of tell, and the way she reacted, telling him, "You're okay, you're okay." It was like, oh, okay, just be quiet and let's go with the flow. We'll get past this or whatever. But I don't know. I feel like you said, I was with Meredith and Lisa in this moment because yeah, Bronwyn brushed it off. So it's like, why am I about to, get all behind you and rally behind you, and you not even making it into a big deal like that? You just kind of pouring it out, and that was it. But I also agree with Angie saying that we found out so much more about Bronwyn in that scene, and we didn't even see it all. But she reiterated on the couch that Bronwyn shared a lot. So I can only imagine
She
from
did.
what we saw. I can
I
only
thought
imagine from what we saw to what actually happened. It just seemed like she was really in her. I hate to say it, but it just seemed like she was in her thirsty era of trying to. Yeah, it seemed like she was in her thirsty era of trying to get them to to be her friend
her.
and rally around her, yeah, and to like her.
Yeah. I agree with everything, especially the Todd situation. Todd looked lost, honey. He always looked like he don't want to be there, but he was extra lost and did not want to be there, especially when they came out. Bronwyn is definitely. I agree, Sean. Bronwyn seems very lonely, and seems like she doesn't have like a source of, I don't know. I wonder who her friends are, her real friends are.
Same.
Because it's like it seemed like she don't, based off of her performance towards the second half of this season, it's like she just, it's just like she says that she never feels enough. There's just a lot of issues and trauma there. I think she should see a therapist and really start looking into that. Because there's obviously some problem there, and the show is showing it. I don't know.
It's even like coming out like and post like interviews and post things, because on Watch What Happens Live, when she was on there with Julia Fox or whatever, like her and Julia had a great time, everything was good, and they asked Julia what was the thing that she disliked the most about the season, and she turned to her and she said, I really hated to watch you basically beg for Lisa's approval and to want to be Lisa's friend so bad. And I think the audience picked up on that as well, because it started to get to me personally. Like, it was like, girl, like, you're doing a lot for Lisa's friendship, and Lisa's not going to give you that. I feel like every season there's been somebody that has been wanting to be up Lisa's butt, and we always have to say on this show, Lisa's not going to give you that. She's not, like, it's just like, get over it. So yeah, I felt really bad for her. And Mary also had a post interview where she mentioned that as well. She was saying Braun was a great addition. It was a written interview. I want to say it was with Vulture, and they interviewed Mary, and she was saying how Braun was a great addition. She loves her. She thinks she's great for the show. And then she even mentioned she didn't like that she was running behind Lisa and why she's trying to get Lisa's approval so bad. And of course, Mary, being Mary, had to take it to the point where she said, I don't understand why any of them want to be friends with Lisa so bad.
I'm telling you, the only person on that cast that does not want to be friends with Lisa is Mary.
Mm-hmm.
She's perfect, but not. And I think she respects her, and she shares great moments with her. I think they have a relationship. Their relationship gives me very Candy and Nene. It's kind of.
I can see that.
Whereas it's like they don't really vibe, but they can come together. They can laugh here and there, but every once in a while they're gonna always butt heads about something. And that's what their relationship gives me. I don't know who is who, but that's what they give me. So yeah. All right. So then they asked Todd a quick question about if he still thinks Vita Tequila is mediocre. Lisa says, well, baby, listen, we've won awards and prizes. You should check us out and see how highly rated my tequila is, and blah, blah, blah. They asked about the status of Meredith and Seth. There's been a lot of rumors about them, possibly. There's been like a lot of like blind rumors about them. And she just says that they are monogamous. She says that they do not cheat. But basically, every couple, every relationship has problems. They've been together for decades, so that's expected. And Todd kind of comes in and says, well, listen, that's us too. That's me and Bronwyn too. And I'm like, I don't think so, sweetie. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know anymore. But they take a break. And as somebody said, baby Todd was so relieved to get off that couch. He was like, "Woo! I'm so glad to be out of here." Mr. Peter Griffin was ready to go.
Not Peter Griffin.
As they leave, Bronwyn says she did not like the way that John said. She said that John said, "Watch your mouth." He said, "Watch your tone." First of all, but she didn't like the way he said that, and says that she thinks that his wife, should watch her mouth, and so
Ooh.
I know I was like, oh. Then we get to we get to this last well, not last, but we get to a segment about Mary, and this is basically Mary speaking about her and Robert Jr. um so they talk about how he went to rehab for 30 days or whatever. He hasn't changed. Well, things have changed, but it sounds like she wishes that some of his friends would have changed a little more. Seems like there may be people still around him that was around. I'm assuming it's probably, you think it's the wife or whatever it is.
Yes.
I don't know.
It's something.
Yeah, it gotta be. But basically, she talks about how the talk wasn't planned. She talks about her past, and she breaks down, obviously, because even in Andy starts crying too, especially about the comment when he said he felt like a stain. And the whole couch is emotional. Like, everybody on the couch is emotional at this point. And Mary was not emotional. But I think this part kind of got everybody as they talk about it or whatever. It made me think, like, well, who I was wondering who else on this couch may have dealt with something similar. We know Whitney, we know Meredith mentioned, her nephew. And so I was just thinking, like, but even if you're not dealing with it, it's still just very touching to see it all play out. Like, every time I see these scenes of Mary, I get a little emotional. I ain't gonna lie to you, I do, because it's just hard. I don't have no kids, and I do not do drugs, but it's just something about seeing the love in someone who just was so, like, guarded, just kind of like give you everything, pour out something that I would never thought I would have seen. She talks about how she had moved to New York to work to give him a better life, and how she was only African American in her class, and they would watch slave movies, and everybody would look back and look at her and be like, look at her while they're watching these movies. She talked about Robert Sr., who it broke his heart, but he's very strong. But also commended Mary and was very proud of her for doing the scene. They talk about an actual analogy that seemed to land well, which was unseasoned chicken and seasoning. And then we see Angie. We know Angie's been her support. She talks about her support as it relates to her mom. Angie kind of breaks down and says that because Mary told her that if her mom, I think she said if her mom could do it, she would do it all over again. Or, well, what did she
She would
say?
do it differently. She
Do it
said
different.
that
Yeah.
Mary encouraged her that her mom probably would
Would
approach
do it.
everything differently if she had a chance, and
Yes.
she needed to hear that. Yeah.
Yes, she needed to hear that. That gets her emotional. Whitney is emotional the entire time, but she actually, like, breaks down a little more while saying that she can't really. She was trying not to make eye contact with Mary, just because it reminded her of her father, which she mentioned that her kids watch this scene and it helped them understand why they don't have a relationship with their grandfather, which is her dad. So, I'll stop there. And any thoughts?
Yeah, I had forgotten about Whitney's dad and his bad wig. Remember season one, like he was cutting hair and it seemed like he had like a black wig on his head too. And
I was
I was
like, was
like,
that a wig or was that his hair?
Liza,
oh
looking like Liza Minnelli.
exactly. Because I didn't realize he had an addiction at first. I was like, he's sure to look a little strange, right? But then you realize that they fell out. So that when Mary was talking, I did see Whitney getting emotional. And I think Mary surprisingly was very pastoral to Whitney. It
Yeah,
was kind of like being like, oh, you still look beautiful, comforting her in her own way.
yeah,
Because usually, Whitney and Mary, they go at it, but you could tell, like, again, Mary's realness, her willingness to actually talk about issues that strike a chord with a lot of people, just made space for all the women to really bond over something real and think about, their own traumas, and Winnie's dad with the bad hair and all that stuff. Like, it just brought everything together full circle and they was all bonding.
yeah,
But I definitely feel like I almost couldn't handle again. Like I was crying. Like you should have seen me. I was with my Kleenex. I can't like watch any of those scenes and hear those heartbreaking things that Mary's son was saying without crying all over again. And I just hope people realize the power of love because Mary probably did save her son's life and a lot of people's lives. So even though a lot of people, talk about addicts needing to hit rock bottom and you needing to do tough love, just the love part. If
Yeah.
you focus on that alone, that can save so many lives. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Put it
That
out for
scene, that scene was it was tough to watch, but also really
Mhm.
good. And I want to say that was the first time that I can remember that I've seen Andy like actually break down and cry on the
Yeah.
stage. And they've had like a lot of, over the years, all the Housewives and everything Andy reviews they've had a lot of like real moments, intense moments, things that were deep. But I feel like that was the first time I seen him like really, really cry. And you could tell that Mary's story really broke a wall in the
Mhm.
Housewives like complete franchise because as we've seen as the season was going on, she had housewives from all regions reaching out to her, saying nice things.
Mhm.
It was just a different moment in the Housewives universe, which I think helped make the season that much better because there was balance. It wasn't just bickering and fighting over nonsense, circle jerks, all that. They had a real moment,
Yeah.
and I was so happy that it was from Mary because I feel like when things that you're connected to and actually love and care about, when that's going on in your life, that gives you the moment to kind of like be as vulnerable as possible. And Andy mentioned it, like we all I feel like this season was one of the first seasons in Housewives franchise history that everybody connected with this one specific housewife about something that is a real life situation and that can happen to any of us, with our family members and stuff like that. So it was just so much kudos and love for Mary to
Mhm.
pretty much, put on a strong face because we don't see her cry that much. Like that was just
Yeah.
it was a lot. I really felt for her in that moment. And I just hope that Robert Jr. is doing better.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
for the first time, I think I believed all the ladies when they said that story helped them with their families and situations. I didn't think that nobody was being fake and
Mhm.
phony, and I really thought that was a good moment for the show.
Mhm.
Yeah, it added one of those iconic layers to that franchise for them.
That's
I
beautiful.
completely agree. I think this was like a moment, that will definitely has been stamped not only for this franchise but for Housewives, because I mean it was so transparent. I feel like if you watch that scene and you just didn't feel any kind of emotion, then you may be, a serial killer. I don't know. Um, but it was definitely something. Whether you can relate or not, it was just seeing
Mhm.
someone, for me, what I can applaud the most about this was not just the transparency, but just seeing a black mother take this information and be so gentle yet so
Mhm.
Hmm.
firm in trying to figure out what's the best thing to do. Because I will say, most in black tradition, you hear your mom hear you doing drugs, and their reaction is not always going to be so gentle. It's you get out of my. I don't know what it's going to be, but there
Mhm.
are stories. Just how we are as black parents, how we have. So it was just seeing something that was different for me. That was how she was just so like, she was firm and saying like, we got to figure something out. Like you can't like, it's not right. But she
Mhm.
wasn't just scolding him. I
Hmm.
think the one thing that she said that was key to me was that we want to raise our kids to be comfortable in coming to us. And I think like that's
Mhm.
one thing. If I ever have kids, I would like them to feel very comfortable coming to me about just about anything. That's what I want. So that's why I appreciate it the most. And I'm glad it was from her because I've always liked Mary, regardless of some of the things she said. People say she mean, bully, whatever, blah, blah.
Mhm.
I don't think so. I think she's a very, stern woman. And I think that she kind of showed that she is still human in this
Hmm.
moment because we've never seen her really cry ever until this happened. And so that's how I feel like
Mhm.
it was very authentic, honestly.
I
So
know she's like peaking this season. And I feel like I learned more about her this episode too, because I didn't know she had moved to New York for 8 years
Same.
just
Did
to,
not know that.
help her son have diversity, because that's also so huge. Like the way children can sometimes be isolated. Like she talked about her own experience, like you said about, being the only person in the class,
Yeah.
getting pointed out when it was like a slave movie and things like that. And those kinds of things can really stick with you. Just the fact that she did all of that work to try to shield her son and give him a
Yeah.
different life. And then it still ended up like that. Like again, it's like my heart broke all over again. But
Yeah.
then I also saw new layers of why Mary is so great and the sacrifices she's made as a mother that I
Yeah.
didn't even know before. So it's just like Mary's a phenomenal housewife. Like I couldn't believe that like I could fall in love with her even more, even
Yeah.
after reunion. But she pulled it off. She's great.
Yeah. Okay, so they continue to talk about Mary to close out this episode. So it's more so, as we mentioned, more so her opening up. She was ziplining this year. She had some beers, she's drinking a wine. Like she was very present. And I
Mhm,
will say, I like to see housewives give balance. I like them to be in the drama. I like them
mhm,
also to give personal storylines. She gave us both. To me, in
Hmm.
my opinion, she was MVP because she was in the mess enough,
mhm,
gave us moments, and she also had her own situation going on. So dealing with that, and what I like too also is that she was able to take some time when she felt like she needed to from the group deal with this or whatever. You
mhm,
know what I'm saying? Like I like that. Like she didn't completely just go away. She just like she didn't show up on the first day. She came to the trip on the second day. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. I just have to applaud her on that. Who is that right there? The family's off. The child, the family's off. She prays grandmother. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't know. I wish we would get more information about that, but at the same time, I think that information is like so played out as far as like the grandmother and the whatever. Like
That
at
was
this,
that was like Jen Shaw era at this
I don't
point, and
even
she
right. It's
gone.
like I don't even care about that anymore. It's just like this lady, she's open up about this, and it wasn't just this that made me not care about it. It's just like honestly, after season 2, I stopped caring about the grandpa and the blah blah all that. That's not her identity. Like I don't care.
mm,
At
Um,
all.
so to close out this episode, they talk about Mary opening up, and she says
mhm,
that for the first time since she's been on the show, she actually found a friend, and that being Angie. And so they asked the question, well, what about Meredith? Like, was it not your friend? And she says that Meredith is a beautiful person and she loves her, but she's always busy, and it's just kind of different with her. So from I don't know what y'all got from that, y'all can talk about it, but basically, we find out that Meredith did reach out to her after the episode, sharing that her nephew saw it as well and said if she needed any help or anything like that, she could reach out to him because he had gone through that in the past. So then they talk about Mary versus Meredith at the brunch, and basically Meredith just felt like she was attacked at the brunch. They talk about her bangs.
the
um,
bang.
bangs, and
Not the bang.
Meredith says, you can talk about my bangs all you want, but I don't want y'all talking about all the other stuff. It's the other stuff that kind of, pisses me off. So she goes down this whole list of things that people have said. It's so funny that she did that because I put together a game to play regarding Meredith. But
Oh my God.
we'll do it next week. But I put together
Oh.
a game. But she had literally. I'm gonna go back and take and listen to that piece again so I can write down in my notes for the game. But I had already kind of mapped out everything that she had gone because Meredith is just such a big child. She goes through so much. But Angie steps in and is just like, I don't know why you got all these things that people are saying to you. If people saying nasty things to you, you do it as well. So then they go down the last question of how did Mary use Meredith? Because when they walked off from well, it wasn't a sit down, the little 101 scene where she was late. Meredith says that she used her over the last few years. What Meredith meant by that was that I guess nobody really wanted to fool with Mary over the last few years, is what I got from it. But she was one to kind of keep her around. We've heard this story before, not from them two, from other individuals, because typically when people are like, when they feel like someone's trying to make their way back in the group, they always have somebody that can kind of keep them around. And I guess Meredith feels like she was that person. But Meredith says that she did say that, but she did not mean that. She does not actually think that, or she did not mean it at the time. And she hugs Mary, and Mary tells Angie, "You got to fix it with her because I love her." And
Mm.
Angie look a little jealous over that. She look a little mad, like it look like she don't want to fix it.
Yes.
And so that's pretty much all for this episode. I'll stop there and get you guys' thoughts. We get our first Carlo on chat. What are your thoughts?
I love the ending part with Mary versus Meredith with that whole situation because I feel like it finally gave some clarity to what was going on. Because I too during the season I was like, well, what's going on with Whitney and I'm not Whitney with Mary and Meredith because at one point they were very close and they were hanging out doing all this or whatever. I don't think that we ever saw Mary and Meredith the same way we've seen Mary and Angie.
Never.
So, like she said, it's just a different relationship. But I also felt like I wish they would have touched on the fact that, in a sense, to me, I don't think that either of them use each other, but I think that it could be viewed that way because when Meredith was kind of on the outs with her bestie Lisa after Hot Mic moment, is when her and Mary started getting, cool and started getting close, and Mary was also kind of, doing her own little sabbatical from the group, trying to take a step back. That's kind of when they was like joining forces. So I think that in a sense it worked out in that moment, but I don't think that they were ever like genuine friends. And like I say, the reason why I say that is because, like I said, her and Angie's relationship is visibly a real relationship, a real friendship. With her and Meredith, it was more so seemed like it was a little surface, but I do think that they genuinely like each other because even on the first season, Mary and Meredith never had any issues either. So
They never
I
had
feel like, yeah, they've never had issues. So
issues. And honestly, I think their relationship kind of formed a little bit when they both felt like they both were coming at Jen Shaw because Jen Shaw got indicted. Yeah. I think it started there. Do I think that maybe she befriended her and kind of kept her around? Sure, but at the same time, you can already see in this little time that her relationship with Angie is a lot different. But you have to also acknowledge that maybe the moment that we saw that Angie and Mary was so close, especially with Angie and Meredith having an issue, that there was it wasn't gonna be the same. Not saying that Mary can't be friends with both, but I mean Meredith was back friends with Lisa, so it's just like it was just I don't know. I wish we could have got more into this because she said like you're busy. I think it's just more to that. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
Feel like Mary gave us the pageant answer or a quick answer, but I feel like there's more to that. Or I mean maybe that's just me. That's just me. I don't know.
There's more, but Cortez, I'm surprised you said that Angie was looking more than I thought Meredith was looking more.
They did a scene
on the couch.
They did a scene where they literally showed Angie's face like right
Angie's
after
face
Mary
was
got
like,
up, and Angie was like
I felt
she was
okay.
over it.
I
She even
felt
made the
like
comment.
I felt more love and genuine connection between Angie and Mary than I've ever felt, through the screen. Obviously, we don't we don't know them, we're just watching, but from what we see, I think the difference between Mary's friendship with Angie and Mary's friendship with Meredith is the difference between a good friend versus a god friend. Like those two, when you think about it, like there are people that obviously, you care for, you have a good time, but then there are other people that will be more like in the trenches with you in terms of like, praying with you, crying with you, things like that. And I don't see Meredith being as much in the trenches like that as you can see that Angie is for Mary and vice versa. And like in my life too, I had one good god friend since the third grade. Like me and this girl, I'm telling you, we've been through the trenches, we've been back and forth for years. She's my son's godmother. Like there's a different level, and people use the term best friends, but there are people even recently I've met who I haven't known as long as some of my good friends, but I've been able to pray with them and gotten to that god friend level with too. So I definitely think that it doesn't matter if Mary and Meredith knew each other longer. I think what Mary said about Meredith being busy was not a pageant um analysis. Like that busyness, that distance, I think is the reason why Meredith and Mary can't get to the Angie level. And on some levels, I do feel like Meredith might kind of treat Mary kind of as like a charity case in a way, because like with the other ladies, they don't sometimes take Mary as seriously. And Angie even said it. She's like, I see you differently than all these other ladies do. So I think for a while Meredith might have been treating Mary as kind of like, okay, I'm the one that's gonna reach out and not have you be isolated, kind of like on an emotionally distant level, like still, texting and providing support, but Angie and Mary have spoken candidly about why their friendship is on another level in very subtle ways. And I definitely think the comments about, Meredith being busy and then Angie also saying that she sees Mary a different way does mean something. I don't know why I'm cryptic like that.
I know, I was like, let me come in, let me follow you.
I don't know. It just
um,
turned. Hold on.
what's very funny to
Okay.
me is every time I see when I see scenes of Angie and Meredith, I'm like, this is like I love to see it, but I can never not think about the moment when she first met Angie by the pool in Palm Springs, and she said, "Who is Angie?" And she didn't even want to sit by her. This is literally a year ago.
But Auntie kept trying the thing, and Auntie's
And
heart
she
was
did keep
always
trying.
pure.
She did. I
Yeah.
mean, she did. It's crazy because I mean, she, knowing the current Angie would have probably just, I don't know, would lash out. Maybe said that, you know, she
Right.
that her husband was 1 foot on the grave and whatever else she would have said. I don't know, but that's not what happened. And so I hope that it is truly genuine. I hope that if they don't come back next season, I said it not. I'm sure they will. But if they were not to come back next season, then we would still see them as friendship. Because I would love. I think that is kind of what Mary needs. I was always curious to see like who would actually be like good friends with Mary. I never thought it'd be Angie, but it's in general. Like I see it, and I hope that it stays that way post
Yeah.
production and just throughout, because I think that's what she needs. And I think honestly, like you remember how like when Phaedra and Portia were friends, Portia brought out the fun in Phaedra. I feel like Angie
Yeah.
brings that out of Mary. Not saying she's
Yeah.
older. I feel like she brings out something more for her to do because Angie is still very vibrant. She's fashionable. So I think that's what she needs. I think it's a good duo, honestly. Really do.
It is great too.
It is. It
And I,
is.
I also felt in that last moment of Mary, Meredith, and Angie, when Mary was like, "Y'all need to make it right." I also saw a glimpse of hope that I could even see them as a trio hanging out. Like if y'all could get it
Meredith,
together, Meredith and Angie, I feel like if they could get it together, I
honestly,
think that they could be a good trio.
That's who truly needs some young and fun energies. Meredith is so damn uptight. It's
She's
ridiculous.
too uptight.
She
She's
is
a lawyer.
uptight. Like I just feel like she is like the most uptight person on that cast. I'd be like, girl, she acts like she's like the damn matron of honor. Like, good God, like just loosen up. She's always so serious. And
But
we
her seriousness makes it funny because when she goes off,
well, that's
and
what I'm
it'd be
saying. She's
hilarious.
It's
entertaining.
hilarious.
I don't want to be entertained by her just going off all the time. That gets old to me. It's like, girl, like have fun, shake your tatas, just live. I don't know. Just have fun. That's all. All right, y'all. We got one call in the queue. I'm gonna let them on. Make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're gonna be here for Potomac on Monday and then Beverly Hills on next Wednesday. Chase, if you're sitting in the chat, I told everybody here that we're not going to be doing the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Oh.
So yeah, no. So, but Chase, if you are, let me know so that I can start plugging that you will be doing it. Because baby, let me tell you something. That trailer, it did not move me, and I'm not about to waste my time on yet another boring show.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm
That's
sorry.
wild.
Oh, well, Chad, would you like to host it and do it?
No, I don't mind being a part of a few episodes though, but I don't want to
Okay, yeah,
host
that's what I
them.
thought. Yeah, so
I don't think they're that interesting yet to host them.
and that's all I'm saying. So if we decide to do Atlanta, it will be at a point where I'm like, okay, it's actually pretty good. But until they show me that, no, you will not see a notification for Atlanta. All right, I'm gonna let this caller on. Hey, Lisa, how you doing?
Hey, darling.
Hi.
Hey,
Hey, what's up, Shantae? Lisa Bala.
Oh, I'm not Lisa
How y'all
Barlow
guys
anymore.
doing?
You're the only Lisa in our line right
Okay
now
then.
in our
Okay
life.
then. Hey, Shad. How you doing, baby?
Hey, Lisa, it's good to see your face.
Yes. Let me say something. Cause let me get started. See
okay.
this mess
Okay.
with Barden and Mary. Baby. See, my Barden be lying somewhere. somewhere it's some lies been told. See, we don't learn 2 lies tonight. We learned about it probably was an affair, it was no affair, and now we got the jewelry. She ain't buy the jewelry. There's some lies been told somewhere. See, that make me not want to trust you, Baldwin. That made me want not to trust you. And then you got Mary over there. I'm gonna take two. I don't believe nothing Mary said. I believe all that stuff was seen. I
Oh
believe
my
all of it was
God.
seen, baby. And you know, and y'all keep talking about, yeah, we need to find out what happened to grandma.
Lisa,
Okay?
if you moving past grandpa and
I'm
grandma,
so now I ain't moving past nothing till we find out what happened to grandma.
I'm muting Lisa because Lisa in this grandpa and this grandma. Can you talk about the context at hand, please? At this rate, grandpa and grandma is gone. Now I'm gonna unmute you. Please stay on.
That's her square, Cortez. You
Let
can't
it
be
Okay?
her
let
I'm
square.
so tired of that square and grandpa. What else you got?
No, no, we don't. We need to find out what's going
Boy,
on.
you go find
See,
out.
you can. I'm gonna find out
Okay.
because
Yes.
okay now. Okay
Okay.
now, if that church money was built, that church will be built on grandmama
You
graves.
cutting into your time.
Now we can't do that.
You cutting into your time.
No, you can't do that, baby. Then you know. And I know, you know, Peter Griffin. Now I thought I called that man Peter Griffin. Good time messing with you. But Tyler, like he was just so shocked tonight about their affair. He like he was just so
he was
shocked tonight
shocked.
about
He
that
was
affair.
shocked.
He like, what affair? He like, what affair? I ain't do nothing. I ain't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I like about these men on here, they will stand up for their wives. I love a good man who stand up for their woman. And Justin was not playing. Don't call my wife no bitch.
Mm.
And that I mean I forgot which. I forgot which. And I like that. I like a good man who stand up for their woman. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's really wasn't about nothing tonight. You see the lies coming out of Baldwin and Mary mouth. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
You know
Well,
what I'm
thank
saying? So, and Cortez, we going live Monday. I'm gonna see how I can go live Monday after we do the live on you because it's gonna be my birthday, baby.
your birthday Monday.
Aw.
Yeah, yeah,
Happy
Well,
birthday.
happy early
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
See you on Monday.
yeah. Thank
Aquarius.
you.
Right? Aquarius.
Yeah, Aquarius, baby, all day long. Yeah.
Thank you for calling in. Okay.
So, okay, then, Don. Love y'all. Y'all have a happy weekend. Okay.
You too.
And
You
Have a
happy
good
too. Bye, Lisa.
birthday.
Happy
Bye.
birthday.
Bye bye.
Happy early birthday. Okay. Well, listen. With that being said, we're gonna get ready to lay down. Antonio, I don't know what Mary lied about, but Lisa said she lied about something. You gotta check it up with Lisa. I don't know, but I do hope she find out what happened to Grandpa. I really hope. I really hope she find out. So hit the like
Grandpa is
button.
proud of Mary. Sorry. Didn't they say Mary said that her husband proud of her? Her husband?
Yeah. Oh, Chase, if you are you gonna be reviewing at Real Housewives of Atlanta this season? Because I asked earlier, I didn't know if you was in here. Let me know. Because if you are, I'm gonna be plugging no chaser for that. Because I don't think we will be doing that show. I'm telling you right now. Okay, Chase will be doing Atlanta. So for all of the viewers, I'm officially sending you on over there. So please Atlanta over because we will not be doing it. Maybe if Chase invites me over, I'll do a couple episodes over there with him. But I just don't think that this channel will be. I just don't think it's gonna happen, baby. It's not. So like this video, subscribe to the channel. Again, if you're watching Potomac, that's on Mondays. If you watching Beverly Hills, that's on Wednesdays. We're gonna be here next week for one more episode of Salt Lake City. So make sure y'all tune in for part 3. Again, if you are watching Atlanta Housewives, the trailer came out today. If you thought it was great, you're gonna watch it. No Chase TV will be reviewing it. The lean more than likely 99% will not be reviewing it. Just saying. So what's that right there? Oh yeah, I'm right here. Go to No Chaser TV for Real Housewives recap. Thank you, Antonio. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Shantae. And we'll see y'all next time, okay? Have a good night.
Peace.